Hi there everyone, this is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and as you can see from the title of this video, today we're going to be asking the question, was the Paris shooting a false flag operation? Now, in case you're new to this channel, perhaps we should define what a false flag is. This is a term that was derived from the military in reference to when you would fly the flag of another country when carrying out an attack in order to blame it on your political enemies. Now, this is a tactic that has been used over and over again over the years to manipulate the minds of the masses, and we can see when these false flag black op operations are in effect by all the telltale signs that we've seen with other false flag operations over the years. So, for example, when it comes to these three suspects who were allegedly involved in the Paris shooting, well, we are being led to believe that these are violent Muslim militant extremists who were professionally trained terrorists who were hell-bent on taking out the Charlie Hebdo magazine because of their refusal to stop portraying images of the Prophet Muhammad. Now, this is the official narrative that we've been given from the mainstream. But let's take a look closer at just who these guys were. Well, with the youngest of the three suspects, he ended up turning himself in after hearing his name surfacing around on the news. And as if that isn't raising any red flags in your mind, you have to consider how the authorities learned of the identities of the other two suspects. Remember now, we are being led to believe these are highly trained militant operatives here, professional terrorists, and one of them allegedly left their ID card in the getaway car. Now, if you are a highly trained professional terrorist, a militant extremist, when you're getting dressed up in your garb and your guns and your balaclava, are you going to grab your ID and put it in your pocket before you head out to conduct this operation? And on top of that, are you going to just leave the ID in the getaway car? I mean, this is the kind of tactic that we've seen before, namely with one of the largest false flag operations that our generation has seen, the attacks of 9/11, when they allegedly found the passport of one of the hijackers in the rubble. So we've seen this kind of thing before where people are being completely framed. And again, this may sound familiar to you, being the fact that these are two brothers involved with this incident. We've heard this before with the Boston bombing, where not only is it very convenient that these two French nationals are allegedly dead now in a shootout with the police, quite convenient that we can't ever hear their side of the story. Well, it's very similar to what we saw with the Boston bombing suspects, where one was killed and another had his throat slit. And that was another clear false flag operation. It was solidified in my mind when I interviewed the aunt of the Boston bombing suspects. And she relayed to me that she believed that her nephews were completely being set up. And when we compare this to what we just seen in Paris, well, we know that the Islamic State has been created, funded, armed, and trained by the CIA. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is fact. The CIA has created ISIS and has armed them and trained them. The Canadian government has even been involved in funding and training the Islamic State. In Syria, we've been funding them and training them. And when you see these types of propaganda pieces, no, it is the CIA who is fully in control. They have been in control of ISIS ever since they had to create the new boogeyman. And that, of course, is what this is all about. I mean, why would they want to do this? Well, you have to understand, we are in a perpetual war on terror, a global war on terror, allegedly. And if you have to maintain this facade, if you want to continue to intervene militarily around the world, and you're doing this based on a global war on terror, well, you have to maintain this facade. You have to keep up the fear state in the minds of the people, in the minds of the masses, that there is a threat from violent extremists. And when there are no organic events that arise and occur from any Muslims out there who do this, because these things don't happen organically, well, then they create the chaos. Again, it all comes down to order out of chaos. You generate the chaos in order to get a reaction, your desired reaction, so that you can offer the solution. The solution is always military intervention, more of an increased police state right here at home, more of an increase on the surveillance state. Now, there's another aspect to this false flag operation which needs to be discussed, and this is the issue with the shooting of the police officer. Now, this is completely muddying the waters in regards to researching facts when it comes to false flag operations, because when I look at this footage, if you were to ask me, do I think that this officer was shot in the head, executed with an AK-47, well, I would have to say no. It doesn't appear to be that way. The video evidence would suggest otherwise. Now, what ended up happening within hours of this surfacing, the mainstream media just completely ran with it, and it spread all across the mainstream media outlets that this was indeed the case, that the officer was executed by a shot to the head, even though the video evidence suggests otherwise. Now, do I think that people died in Paris? Absolutely. Do I think that it happened in the way that the mainstream media is being portraying it? Well, not necessarily, not at all. And again, this is completely muddying the waters when it comes to everybody who is looking into this, rightly so. We need a healthy amount of skepticism to be able to properly look at these things. But some of the researchers are getting a little out of hand with calling absolutely everything is a hoax. There are real, legitimate false flags. They happen all the time. The Boston bombing was a false flag. This appears to have been a false flag. Many of these operations are conducted by the intelligence agencies, carried out by the government against their own people in order to justify, again, military intervention abroad and to take away our rights and freedoms right here at home. So we're going to continue to look at this one, to uncover just what went down there, because Stephen Harper is already starting to announce that we're going to start beefing up security here in Canada based on this. So we just can't allow ourselves to be ruled, manipulated, and controlled because of this event, which, again, it's more and more looking like this was an operation by the CIA, and the two brothers were framed and pinned with this one to take the fall. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please check out the links in the description. You can check out some of our previous videos where we expose the history of false flags, how these things operate. You can check out our video called In the Wake of Sandy Hook, and another video, I'll have a link in the description there, called False Flag Fires, The Rise of the Phoenix. And that's all for today, folks. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here with more video reports coming very soon to pressfortruth.ca.